Hello and welcome to the Gran Turismo World Finals for 2023 from Barcelona in Spain. It is time for the Pro-Am race here this afternoon. We've got the semi-finals coming up here today on Saturday. My name is Tom Brooks. Alongside me as ever, Jimmy Broadbent here to guide you through the action. JB, we've got 3 races. We've got 34 drivers in those 3 races. About 11, 12 in each or so, there and thereabouts. 4 are going to go through. We're going to make a 12-driver final. Then we're going to get the pros in for the final tomorrow. It's all going to kick off. What do you reckon?
That's a quick maths there, Tom. I got through there very quickly. Good job, man. But we have our first semi-final A starting grid start list there. As you can see, Team Fordzilla on the pole position with MG Team second. Overtake GG there as well. Mercedes AMG represented by Adam Christodoulou, real-life racing driver. We have Jerome, otherwise known as Hydro, there in P5. GG Planet there in 6. Fo Street 7. Soy Motor 8. Motorsport Total 9. The Metal 10. Jess Hart 11. And Sonia Ordas in 10th there as well. And Jimmy, an interesting race. It's going to be at Catalunya, so it's a 5-lap race here today. So a bit of a merciless sprint. There is Abel Torres, the 13 years old, I was told, younger than I thought he was, representing Team Fordzilla, and the fastest driver so far. There he is on pole.
Yep, this is the grid then. Fordzilla starting on pole position. MG18 team lining up alongside on that front row of the grid. Overtake GG in 3rd position at the head of the 2nd row with Mercedes AMG. Adam Christodoulou behind the wheel of that car in 4th place. Then we've got Hydro Jerome, as he's otherwise known, in 5th place. GT Planet Jordan Greer in his Mercedes AMG in 6th position. Then Flo Street in 7th place on the grid. Looking further down, you've got Soy Motor, the Spanish team in 8th place. Motorsport Total in 9th place. The Metal in 10th position. And then the final row of the grid is occupied by the Australian Jess Hart. Completing it is Sonia Ordas, the Spaniard in the Porsche 911 RSR. So 5 laps, as Jimmy said, all on soft tyres. No need to worry about anything in terms of strategy. It's a flat-out sprint from lights out to the checkered flag. Should be pretty interesting, this one, with only 4 drivers out of the 12 going through.
It's only a rolling start here as well, so they're going to be a little bit spaced out at the start, but it's a very, very long run down towards T1. There is Baptiste Beauvoir, of course, long-term AMG driver overseeing Adam Christodoulou, Tom Harrison-Lord. Jump ship from Traction, which is gone now, and off to overtake.gg. So good to see him still here, though. Good to see him still representing and driving.
Yeah, look to see what Tom Harrison-Lord's going to do. He's pretty quick on his day. There's Jordan Greer for GT Planet. Lots of anticipation here in the arena. You can hear the Spanish commentators belting out behind us. I'm sure they're going to get louder as this broadcast goes on. They're very passionate, and the crowd here absolutely loving seeing the hometown heroes doing well.
So now one a little bit of last bit of concentration, last time to steady your nerves. Probably get going here for the first semi-final.
So then, eyes on the lights as we go racing. Semi-final 1 for the Pro-Ams is underway then here in Barcelona. Team Fordzilla leading the field across the timing line from the MG18 team. 5-lap dash at Catalunya. 12 drivers on the grid. 4 will progress forwards. Who's going to make some moves down in towards T1? Will we see any last of the late breakers at the front? No, Fordzilla and MG18 lining astern through there. Adam Christodoulou's made up a place. He's already up into 3rd position in his Mercedes AMG car, getting past Tom Harrison-Lord in towards turn 1 and turn 2.
Yeah, nice and clean somewhat so far. Already a penalty though for Soy Motor back in P7. We're watching the battle for P4 right now as Hydro tries to go around the outside here of Tom Harrison-Lord in the overtake GG car, looking back over the rear spoiler. Not able to do it at the moment though, as they go down towards the hairpin. And the AMG there in front, piloted by, as we said, Adam Christodoulou, real-life racing driver, but currently holding a little bit of traffic behind him.
Yeah, let's see what Christo's going to be able to do. Harrison-Lord going defensive there with Jerome, looking for his outside line coming in towards the chicane. Is he going to hold it around the outside? No, Tom Harrison-Lord's got track position, stays in 4th place for now. That might leave them under attack though. Coming through turn 9 of Campsor and into the braking zone of turn 10. This is the 2nd real overtaking opportunity. Here's a bird's eye view, or a forward box office view, I should say, rather, of Jordan Greer's look at things. Oh, he's late on the brakes. Bang! Into the back of Jerome, spins it round at the hairpin, drops tumbling down the order, and unfortunately what could have been a quite promising race for the American comes to absolutely nothing on the opening lap.
Got to try and remind Jordan that it's the pedal in the middle there. Slow down. Money down the bus. There is Abel Torres leading the race, commanding it at the moment for Team Fordzilla, funnily enough in the Genesis, as they come down the front straight right now. Fun fact, he's got to sit on a pillow so we can reach the pedals. Same, bro. Same, I understand that.
I was going to say, I wonder what it's like in a go-kart for you. Do you have to use the pedal extenders as well?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Leave me alone.
So, on the brakes in towards T1, GT Planet under investigation for that collision that we saw a few moments ago. I wonder whether he'll be slapped on the wrist with a penalty. Here is Adam Christodoulou, real-world racing driver for Mercedes-AMG. Let's have another look and see if we can piece together what happened here into turn 10, JB.
I think Jordan just forgot to brake. Here we are, looking for a bird's eye view. Good view of what happened here. Overtake DT brake, Jerome brakes, or hydro brakes, and, well, Jordan does brake, but he uses hydro as a brake, which is not what we are aiming to do here, of course, in the GT World Series.
Yep, needs to get himself a new set of Brembos on that Mercedes-AMG car. Down in towards turn 5 we go. This is one of the closest battles on track, and it's Adam Christodoulou now coming under pressure from Tom Harrison-Lord, who, despite a difficult opening lap, seems to be getting his act together a little bit now, finding some pace behind the wheel of that Subaru BRZ machine, as Jordan Greer from GT Planet does indeed pick up a 1-second penalty. He's down in 7th place, and that's going to really scupper any chances of a meaningful result here this afternoon.
Yeah, massive amount there of oversteer for the overtake car behind, just pushing through the long right-hander, and Adam Christodoulou can just rest easy for a couple more corners as the brakes glow coming out of the heaviest braking zone on the circuit. One of them, I should say, as we now come through the last part of the track. Mercedes-AMG there, leading just about overtake GG. At the front of the field, it's Fordzilla pulling away still from MG18. And there's about a 3-second gap to this battle. Behind there, Hydro, just sort of recovering somewhat from the assault earlier from Jordan from GT Planet. Been a little bit of a no man's land at the moment.
Yeah, disappointing race for Hydro as it stands for now. No fault of his own, though. Jordan on the retaliation, meanwhile, going side by side here with Flow Street as they come down the start-finish straight. Alejandro Lopez is Flow Street's real name. And now Jordan Greer looking for the inside line. Team radio.
What? How do I reverse?
It's because of the GS, I think.
I think that might have been Jess Hart just asking how on earth she backs the car up. It's all kicking off, though, into one. Soy Motor there now up ahead of GT Planet. Flow Street relegated down into 8th position. So whilst that was all kicking off, and look at it kicking off. Oh, contact into turn 4. Christodoulou into the side of Harrison-Lord. Just about manages to keep things facing in the right direction. But Harrison-Lord now ahead. And Christo goes for the inside line into 5. Squeezed onto the curb on the inside there. Is he going to be able to get a good exit out of that corner and try and invent something? It's getting very scrappy here, as here comes Christodoulou to the inside. Can he make the move, stick into 3rd place? Yes, he can. Runs it slightly wide through the right-hander, and keep an eye out for Hydro in the background. He's ready to join the party.
I think Tom Harrison-Lord just gave that up to try and survive the corner, to be honest. He was being assaulted there by Adam in the Mercedes-AMG team in the AMG, so we'll see what the stewards think of that. We do have live stewards this Pro-Am race, so as chaotic as it can be, we do treat it properly. As you can see, the great run out of the hairpin there for Tom behind Adam as we come through this last section. Now here is where the Subaru is very strong, very light, very agile, lots of downforce, so we'll see it probably pretty quick through this last corner. But now it's a long straight, and that's Subaru, while fast in the corners, not so fast in a straight line, so it might be a little bit of range from the AMG. Look at the difference there for the last corner, Tom.
Yeah, really good mechanical and aerodynamic grip on that Subaru for Tom Harrison-Lord, but I wonder if he might be a little bit of a sitting duck down the start-finish straight. Well, he's got the advantage of the slipstream. He's going to go for the outside line as Christo goes defensive. Oh, tries and gives him a dummy as they come and towards the first corner. Christo's going to give him racing room. It's going to be late on the brakes as Christo shuffled to the outside line, but goes for the under and over. Tries to get back up the inside, which turns to the outside for turn 2. This is great racing here for the final qualification spot. And keep an eye out for Jerome in the background, who's keeping a beady eye on this battle unfolding in front of him. The top 4 will go through, just to remind you. So whoever doesn't finish ahead in these 3 drivers will go out.
I think that might have been Hydro there. I'm not sure. It's saying just get out of the way. He wants to get through and get on with things, and then tries going the long way around. Tom Harrison-Lord in the overtake GG car. It's, as Tom said, it's a scrap here for survival. At the moment, in 5th place, Hydro would not be going through, but senses there an opportunity as the BRZ in front just gets it slightly wrong through the left-hander. Now we come on to the back straight, where we know the Subaru isn't quite as strong, but for now, the overtake MG18 car staying in 4th place.
Only one more lap left to run after this one. Oh, we're going to see Harrison Lord looking for a move on the inside there into 10. Don't think he was close enough to make that stick. That might compromise his exit. Oh, bit of an out of shape there for Hydro as well, as Christo goes for the defensive line. And I wonder whether Harrison Lord is going to try and invent something around the outside through the penultimate corner. That's going to leave him under threat, though, from Hydro, who goes for the inside line. That was brilliant driving from Christo there to leave Harrison Lord under threat in the overtake GG car. And now Jerome is through. Harrison Lord in the overtake AMG, in the Subaru rather, will be going no further here tonight as it stands as we begin the last lap.
Yeah, that was great there. Hydro there now pulling alongside Adam Christodoulou in the fellow AMG, looking maybe to have a go around the outside of T1. You can just about do that here, but Adam very, very late on the brakes, doesn't allow it to happen, stops on the apex, stops any sort of run there, which of course back up the AMG back into the clutches of overtake.gg behind. So we are on the last lap. It's all or nothing for these guys right now. Meanwhile, it's been pretty business as usual for Abel Torres at the front, the 13-year-old superstar for Fordzilla, leading a very, very mature race indeed.
Yeah, him and Manuel Gonzalez at the sharp end of the field, and they've had something of a quiet affair, but it's not quiet behind for this battle on the final podium position, and indeed for the last qualification spot there too. Team Radio.
I'm going to be knocked out because of that. Oh, no.
Yeah, that's Tom Harrison Lord's team radio there, isn't it?
Maybe not, maybe not. These guys are just squabbling in front.
Oh,
there goes Hydro. There he goes, as if on cue. I think, do you reckon he leaned over and gave a little nudge there? But just got all out of shape. So easy to lose it on that curb. And just like that, overtake.gg and Tom Harrison Lord thrown a lifeline.
Well, Harrison Lord's going to want the lottery numbers for tomorrow if there's luck's anything to go by, because that was an extraordinary piece of luck. Meanwhile, through the final corner comes Abel Torres for Team Fordzilla to win semi-final 1 in the Pro-Ams here. What a delightfully dominant drive from the 13-year-old Spaniard. He comes across the line and takes the checkered flag in commanding style. MG18, that's Manuel Gonzalez in second place. Third will go the way of overtake.gg, who's managed to mug Adam Christodoulou in the final sector there as well. Those are your last two drivers who make it through into the grand final, which will take place here tomorrow. Jerome down in 5th place, who did recover from that spin, but is out, unfortunately. Motorsport total with a penalty there as well at the end of that one. And well, there we are, a familiar sight for yourself there, Jimmy. A cushion on the seat to reach the pedals.
Mate, imagine being anyone else right now and just knowing this guy has just schooled all of you. What a drive there by Abel Torres. And also you saw Tom Harrison Lord coming over the line there, cheering for his P3. I mean, we didn't see what happened there for that change in position. But the drivers going through, the teams going through, Fordzilla, MG18, overtake.gg and Mercedes AMG. The rest, their Pro-Am adventure is over for now.
Well, an exciting first race. There is Abel Torres, smiling and very happy with that result, and unsurprisingly so. Once he was in some clear air at the front of the race, he was never to be seen again. Tom Harrison Lord and Adam Christodoulou just debriefing after that one. Close battle between those two drivers. Really nice to see until the checkered flag.
Christo is very competitive. He wouldn't have liked that. he wouldn't have liked coming out the loser in that little scrap there. There's Paul Euro, of course, our Toyota Gazoo GR GT Cup champion from yesterday. Anyway, highlights from what you just saw. Here was GT Planet take themselves out of the race pretty much immediately, Tom.
Yeah, not exactly the most ideal start to their race. You saw Harrison Lord go for the defensive line, and Jordan just forgetting where the brake pedal was seemingly there, trounced it into the back. This was Christo getting his elbows out on Harrison Lord in the overtake.gg car. Just about managed to keep things facing in the right direction. It kicked off massively coming in towards the final lap as well. The dummy being sold there to Christo. Harrison Lord really getting his elbows out, and look at this as well. It continued on, and what that allowed was Jerome, Hydro that is, behind to close up on this battle as these two started knocking 7 bells out of one another. And as we began the final lap, we wondered whether Jerome would be able to hold on to that 4th place, but a spin coming through into that left-hander sent him out of contention. And you can see very, very disappointed with that. But it was Team Fordzilla then who took the checkered flag in commanding style for semi-final A. Let's head down to our hosts, who are going to be catching up with the interviews.
Unbelievable qualifying, the fastest man on earth, maybe, but also the fastest in this qualifying. Este aplauso para él, ha sido el más rápido, solamente 13 años. Abel Torres, only 13 years old, and he has been the fastest man. This quali, maybe on earth. Vaya clasificación. Tell us something about the qualifying. Dinos algo de tu clasificación porque has tenido un ritmazo, amazing pace.
Salí, intenté hice mi mejor vuelta y seguí dando vueltas, y cuando se me gastaron las ruedas paré a box, cambié ruedas y volví a hacer vueltas, y la penúltima o la antepenúltima me salió la vuelta buena.
Little by little, waiting till the end, and just closing to the end of his qualifying, he managed to get the fastest lap, and he did a nice work, and he felt absolutely comfortable. Y la carrera para el final, ¿no? A por todas, a la finalísima. He tried to go for the win in the last race.
Sí, a ver, ahora en la carrera me mantuve bien y por la final.
A por la final, he go for everything, he tried to relax, try to think about it, and vas a tener rivales duros. He's going to find some big, how to say, rivals waiting for you.
Sí, va a haber pelea y vamos a intentar ganar.
He's gonna try to win. Este aplauso para él, lo ha hecho genial, le ha visto todo el mundo y lo hemos visto aquí desde Barcelona. Everybody has seen him. We are here on the stage in Barcelona and we're going to see him in the final. Le veremos en la final, por supuesto. Gracias, grande.
Por ti.
Great to hear that. Great to hear there from Abel Torres on stage with our Spanish casters here. So Team Fordzilla, Abel Torres take the victory from Manuel Gonzalez for the MG18 team. Tom Harrison Lord for overtake, finishing in third place ahead of Adam Christodoulou, who did manage to qualify for that grand final. Sadly, Hydro Jerome there in fifth place. That mistake on the final lap thwarting his charge, and it all kicked off a little bit further down there. Motorsport, Flow Street, GT Planet in the wars, as we saw Jess Hart, Sonia Ordas, the Metal, etc. Really, really exciting race that though, JB.
Yeah, really fun that one, especially for that last qualification slot there. But now we are getting ready to go over to semi-final B. A whole new host of competitors. Some names you might know, some that you might not. Super GT, of course, the one you might know. He was very worried seeing Abel Torres' qualifying time earlier on. We have Albert Costa in car 2, Team France in 3, Race Clutch in 4th, Ravello in 5th, Andrea Perillo in 6th, Martitino in 7th, Race Service 8th, Poor Team in 9. I'd say that one, Tom. Yeah, I'm out of that one, mate.
It's like Race Service.
10th and 11th. They're yours.
Benche is what I was told before we came on air for this one. There is Super GT. Steely eyes of determination from Steve. And, well, you've raced with him over the course of 2023, JB. What's he like as a driver?
Very smooth, very calm, very collected. Everything is very decisive with Steve. There's no second guesses, but maybe sometimes lacks a little bit of that killer instinct, you know? So this, I mean, seeing Abel go around earlier, I think maybe with a little fire underneath him. We'll have to see.
We'll just give you an idea of the difference in qualifying times. Abel Torres qualified for that last race with a 1:39.164. Steve Brown, Super GT, his best time was a 1:39.846. So very close in terms of the times, but 0.7 of a second. And you can see that as the rest of the drivers get themselves ready for this one, it's going to be, I'm sure, hugely exciting to see what happens.
Quite interesting seeing Miguel then on the stage just presenting, and now he's hopping in the rig tab. They go, I'll try that. That'd be a lot of fun, that. But yeah, should be a fun race, this. If anything, the first race was anything to go by. And of course, again, a reminder, top 4 go through to your final tomorrow. The rest, their Pro-Am adventure ends for now.
Pierre-Olivier Villette, just closest to us on your screen, former French commentator for the GT World Series. Good to see him back. He runs a YouTube channel as well and is very well known within the Gran Turismo community. Keen to see what the Frenchman is going to be able to do as the drivers get themselves geared up and ready for this one. So, Jimmy, exactly the same circumstances as we saw in that first race. But, of course, we've already had one of those races. Do you think that'll give these drivers who are going on now for semi-final B an upper hand?
Yeah, it's always good to see an example of what a race can look like, especially if you're maybe a little bit more inexperienced here. I mean, some of these guys very experienced with Gran Turismo, some not so experienced. So I think any practice at all at this point is only going to serve to improve your chances in today's race.
Sy Bishop there, just on the far left-hand side of your picture in the blue shirt. Actually, his World Tour finale this weekend, and very keen to see how he is going to fare in the Nations Cup here tomorrow night. Loads of racing action to come here for the Gran Turismo World Finals for 2023 in Barcelona. The Manufacturers' Cup coming up here tonight. We've got the Nations Cup coming up here tomorrow. 2 sets of world champions to crown. It's going to be hugely exciting, I am sure. We'll see exactly what is going to happen here for this second semi-final in a few moments' time. So, second Barcelona, Catalunya, JB, we know that this track has very few overtaking opportunities, but we didn't see that necessarily in that first race. They were ducking and diving at pretty much every corner. No,
I think, I mean, as we said earlier, not everyone is maybe 100% familiar with the circuit and the cars we're driving today, and that sort of opens up a few more overtaking opportunities where small mistakes are made. You can just you can take advantage of that if you're a bit more, let's say, a bit more adept at driving on a sim rig. It's a different experience from driving a real car. You do lose out on some of the G-force that you would get from a real car. It's definitely another sort of a driving ability. But those who are good at adapting will get up to speed very, very quickly, and those will be the ones to watch out for.
Jose Serrano on the left-hand side of your picture there. Saw him in the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup last night, very narrowly missing out on a podium spot after a dramatic final lap. He'll be giving some advice to the amateur driver who is behind the wheel of that car at the moment. And final preparations now in place as we get ready to go racing for semi-final B for the Pro-Ams here in Barcelona. The crowd begins to ramp up. The commentators, the Spanish commentators that is, will begin to raise their voices as well as we look forward to seeing what the excitement and passion is going to happen in this second of the semi-finals. So here is the grid then for the second race of the evening. Super GT starts this one on pole position in the Porsche 911 RSR, alongside him Albert Costa in the Genesis Group 3 machine. Team France in third position with Race Clutch in the Subaru BRZ alongside on that second row. Revelo in the BMW in P5 and Andrea Pirillo, the Italian, in the Mercedes-AMG P6. Marchettino in 7th place with Race Service in 8th position in the Mercedes. Next up on the grid, you've got Portine. We saw that with Miguel Portilla a few moments ago. Benche, the Hungarian, in 10th position. Maserati, even though they're in a Porsche, lining up in 11th and last position for this one. So 5 laps of action, a rolling start. You know the drill by now. Let's see what's going to happen. Predictions down to T1, Jimmy.
I always like to say chaos in these races because our Pro-Am guys maybe not quite as used to a rolling start as our superstars here for Gran Turismo, but you know what, they were fairly clean last time. We did see a couple penalties further down the field, but yeah, watch out for Steve at the front. Let's see if he can lead out of the first corner and if he's able to pull away there in that Porsche.
Yeah, just in terms of the qualifying time, Steve was about 3 or so tenths of a second faster than Albert Costa in second position. So let's see how that works out for him over the course of this race. Pierre-Olivier Valette there behind the wheel of the machine. Behind him was Baptiste Beauvoir. So 2 formidable French drivers as we get ourselves ready to go for semi-final B for the Pro-Ams here in Barcelona. We're about to go racing as the field comes to the timing line. And we get semi-final B underway for the Pro-Ams here in Barcelona at the Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. Down towards the first corner, Super GT is going to lead the way. They've all got the advantage of the slipstream though behind. Is anybody going to duck out of it and go for a move? Well, Albert Costa looks for that. Super GT goes for the defensive line, could put him on the back foot in towards turn 2, but he manages to hold firm and hold on to the race lead there for now as it kicks off a little bit behind. A few positions being jostled for in the mid-pack as they come through into turn 3.
Yeah, Relevo unfortunately lost out a bit there, down 2 positions from P5 on the grid. Of course, Andrea Pirillo and Marchettino moving up into set 5th respectively at the front of the field. Sorry, Super GT and Albert Costa already coming to blows, not wasting any time it seems here at T4. Albert Costa very aggressive off a start and then lunges up the inside, can't quite get close enough to get alongside. And if you're Super GT right now, he's going to have his eyes in his mirrors. He is under attack early on, and now that's allowed Team France to come back into the fray as well. So 1, 2, 3 very close together, and a bit of a gap down to P4.
Pierre-Olivier Valette behind the wheel of the Team France car that we ride on board with through turn 9, keeping it nice and smooth through there, slightly wide for Albert Costa. I wonder if that may leave them under attack from Pierre-Olivier, going for the defensive line down towards turn 10, trying to sell them a dummy, but blocking the line as they're entitled to do so. That was fair and firm. Team France, they're trying to get the switch back on the inside into that hairpin, but no room at the in for now as Andrea Pirillo makes a move on Marchettino up into 5th position midway through this first lap, and a slight slip and a slide there for Albert Costa. That could leave them under more pressure coming through these final couple of corners.
Yeah, it's going to mean that now Team France are going to be right on the slipstream, right on the draft range of Albert Costa in front there. Can can Pierre-Olivier Villette make a move down towards T1 in the draft there. 0.5-second penalties. That's going to really make that a lot easier there for Team France to get by. He's going to have the draft, have the slingshot down towards T1, and importantly, he's got the inside line. This corner is a right-hander. He's on the right-hand side, late on the brakes, up the inside, and up into second goes Team France.
Nice move there from Pierre-Olivier Villette. Albert Costa with that half-second penalty tries to retaliate into turn 3, going through on the inside.
Oh,
and we cut away from it.
Wasn't it?
It certainly was. Let's have a look and see if we can piece together what kicked off in the mid-pack here. Coming in towards turn 4, 5 cars all jostling for the same piece of tarmac. Oh, race service, and Benche coming to blows. Into the gravel trap goes the Hungarian team, and also Revelo there as well in some strife and off the track.
I think Revelo just went off on their own. They just got a bit confused, went off on their own there, but it seems that Albert Costa has managed to retake that position there from Pierre, so it's looking like it's, well, it was going well for Albert Costa, but now he's got a service penalty. Oh, and he's sideways. We saw that in the first race as well of Hydro, that curb on the outside, no touchy. Otherwise, he's going to end off in the gravel just like that.
Well, that does release the pressure somewhat from Pierre-Olivier Villette, but it does bring Race Clutch into the foray now as well. That's Richard Arnoux who's behind the wheel. A 1-second penalty there for race service as well, deeming to be at fault for that incident we saw in the opening lap. Whoa! There we go. In towards turn 10, Albert Costa going straight off to the scenery. He'll need a ticket to get back in from that point off the circuit.
You know when you're accelerating towards the apex of that corner, things are going wrong. You're going flying off the course there. That was there's hip and shoulder, and there's just a blatant attack in the background, another car spinning. That was Albert Costa again. So he's gone for fighting for second place in the lead earlier on to in 10th position. And a reminder, only the top 4 will go through to the final tomorrow.
Well, how the turntables, Albert Costa and poor team under investigation as we come across the timeline. This race has absolutely flown by. We're already on lap 3 out of 5, and it's not over yet as well. Just a reminder, the top 4 drivers will go through, but keep an eye out for Relevo, who sits in 5th place. They've got a half-second penalty. Keep an eye out for Marchettino, poor team, who are very close behind. Poor team going on the inside here of Marchettino into turn 3. Not a usual overtaking opportunity there, but poor team making it work. Here comes Race Service with their 1-second penalty to serve at some point here as well. On the brakes we go in towards turn 4, 3 wide. This is going to end badly. Oh, and in front there, that's Revelo going straight off onto the gravel once more. And somehow I think they all managed to make it through that corner, but it was chaos behind.
Let's try and go through that again. So here we are in front. We've got this is Relevo and Poor Team. This is what happened, I think, to Albert Costa. So Relevo goes to the inside. Poor Team tries to avoid it and hits both of them and shunts Albert Costa off into the corner pocket. He ain't going to come back onto the circuit anytime soon. And Andrea Perillo now finds himself in that last qualifying spot. Somehow, it's carnage in this race, Tom.
Marchettino very close behind, off onto the gravel. Keep an eye out, they're going 3 wide almost in the background as they come in towards turn 10. Oh, Perillo's a slightly bit wide there on the exit of the corner. That might leave him under pressure here from his compatriot. No way through for Marchettino as it stands for now. And Benche, the Hungarian behind, Race Service not too far adrift. No penalties to serve for these drivers as it stands for now. Only 4 places out of 11 up for grabs in this one, and we're coming ready to start the penultimate lap of racing, and it's anybody's guess as to who's going to take this for now.
Yeah, this last slot is really under attack, and there goes Race Service past Bencher down the main straight. It's again 3 wide. That banging doors going down the straight. 4 wide now down towards T1. Surely someone's going to give, and it does. Poor Team into Bench, into Marchettino as well on the inside. Relevo somehow gets through, and Poor Team now up to P7. Off the road they go, and Race Service given a 2-second penalty. What is going on?
Well, if you're a bank robber, you'd be using a Mercedes as a ram raiding car for now, because it's just absolutely indestructible, isn't it? It's been involved in so many incidents over the course of this one, and somehow they still managed to sit relatively within contention of that group. But I imagine there's going to be a big penalty coming their way.
I was about to say the chance that Albert Costa might get back into the top 4, but he was just shunted off once more in the background there, so that's looking less and less likely. They're still squabbling behind this fight here. Costa's back up to P6. Poor Team's now been put off the circuit as well, so his race is pretty much over, but it just seems take it in turns to be punted it's the philosophy of its race.
Meanwhile, at the front of this one, we've hardly mentioned him since the lights went out. Super GT's pulled out some 3.8 seconds over Team France. A quite brilliant race for Steve Brown there, with Pierre-Olivier Villette for Team France behind. Race Clutch in 3rd position, all looking quite comfortable, and then it's still all kicking off. Oh, penalty there for Poor Team. No surprise there at all for their collision. Team Radio.
Come on.
I mean, that
could have been anyone.
Dirty.
That could have been anyone for the last couple of laps, to be honest. It's hard to know who that was, but here's Albert Costa, and after going all the way down to P10, he is now within a chance, coming onto the final lap, of taking that 4th position, and importantly, the last slot into the final. So it's all or nothing then for Albert Costa versus Andrea Perillo. Andrea, I think, a little bit slower, it's fair to say, at this stage of the race, so his eyes definitely in his mirrors, looking in the mirrors, goes defensive. Albert Costa not quite close enough yet, but it's only a matter of time. In the background, fighting going on. Mattino getting a little bit of a punt from Renault, and just about all surviving.
Just had to hold my breath there for a brief moment because I thought that was all going to kick off there. The accordion effect in full swing as it all concertinas up through turn 1 and turn 2. Will we see an attack for this final qualification spot in towards turn 4? Perillo knows that. Costa goes for the outside line. This will be quite the comeback considering the race that the Spaniard has had. Oh, Marchettino late on the brakes. How he managed to keep that one on the straight and narrow, I've got no idea. Relevano on the inside, bit of contact there as well. Race service in the mix there too. It's as you were at the front. Look at this in the background though. Off onto the gravel goes Marchettino, just about managing to keep it on the straight and narrow, or do they? No! Bang off onto the outside of the circuit. Well, it was a net that goes round as well. So that's a gift cost of 4th place, I'm sure, unless he makes a mistake in the final stages of this lap. So, Super GT, what a drive it has been for the Briton, coming through the final couple of corners. He led this one from lights out, and he leads it when the checkered flag will fall through the final corner in semi-final B. Super GT wins Pro-Am semi-final B here at the Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. Team France coming home in 2nd place with Pierre-Olivier Villette, race clutch in 3rd position. And Albert Costa, who was down as low as 10th place at one point in that race, recovers masterfully to 4th position to become the last of the drivers to qualify for the grand final here tomorrow. What a chaotic, frenetic, fast and frantic race that was, JB.
Where the first race was quite respectful, that was not. that was all-out war there. Very entertaining to watch, of course. And if you're Albert Costa, who was pretty much in every position at that point during in the race at some point, he must be sitting there thinking, what just happened? How do I just get through that? I'm not too sure. But Super GT, of course, your winner there, not really challenged at all, Tom, was he? Just drove away.
No, that was nice and calm there for Super GT. Penny for his thoughts after that race. Masterful drive from Steve Brown. Very well done to the British driver. Been racing a lot over the course of 2023. There's Adam Christodoulou on the left-hand side of your picture. One more semi-final to come here tonight as well. That will be taking place in just a few moments' time. Exactly the same circumstances. Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. 5 laps, you know the drill by now. 4 drivers going through. There is Baptiste Beauvoir. Pierre-Olivier Villette, who was at the wheel of that car, finishing in 2nd position. Now, let's try and see if we can work out exactly what happened here in this race. There's Benche going straight off to the scene of the accident there. On the opening lap, race service kind of moving over on the braking zone there too.
Just a bit of a mess, really, isn't it, Tom? I mean, it's a lot of people going for the same bit of tarmac. Here was Albert Costa being punted into oblivion on his way down to 10th place. That was poor team there who was responsible for that one. You can see he says, I didn't like that very much.
I'm not surprised at all. And here's the 4 wide incident that we saw. Bang one way, bang the other. I'll take one out, I'll take the other out. Benche goes straight off to the barrier on the outside of the circuit. Poor team there going through as well. Penalties galore in the final couple of stages. Here was Albert Costa's recovery though. So he was in 8th position and just kind of biffed poor team out of the way. 3 into 1 doesn't really go.
I think that was a bit of a revenge from earlier on. I think it's off you go, mate. If you're going to put me off properly. So on the last lap, it turns after that amazing comeback, Albert Costa was unable just about to take the position. You can see just how hard these guys were fighting there. And although compared to this guy, Super GT, it's just like, oh, well, I won. Easy peasy.
Yeah, really, really good stuff there for Super GT. Let's head down to the floor and catch up with our winner.
Todos los mundiales y bueno, vamos a pasar a ver qué tiene que decirnos.
Bueno, pues señoras, señores, ladies and gentlemen, we have our champion Super GT. Steve, how are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Happy to get through that race.
Bueno, nos dice que está muy contento de haber podido ganar esta carrera. You were leading the race mostly, all of them alone, by your own.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning there was lots of pressure from Albert. I thought, okay, I need to defend the first few turns. He was very close, but luckily I managed to back him up into everyone else, and then I could pull away and drive on my own.
Bueno, nos ha dicho eso, que ha liderado prácticamente toda la carrera en solitario, excepto en las 2 primeras curvas que tenía Albert Costa junto a él, pero finalmente pues ha podido tirar y desde entonces solitario hasta la recta llamada. Are you confident for tomorrow for the final?
I think I've got an okay chance. I do apologise, I don't know his name. Fordzilla in the previous race was very fast, so he's got a very good chance, but I'll do my best.
Bueno, os decía que Fordzilla tiene también bastantes opciones, aunque él intentará darlo todo por el todo, que está bastante pues, confiado, ¿no? para poder conseguir la victoria mañana. Super GT, Steve, congratulations, muchas felicidades. Señoras y señores, este fuerte aplauso para Super GT, campeón de esta segunda semifinal.
Well, my only disappointment is that Steve didn't answer that one in Spanish. I thought he was fluent by now.
Yeah, I know. Disappointing there for the home crowd. But here are your final results then from semi-final B. Confirmed Super GT, the winner. Team France second. Race starts first. Now Acosta rounding up the top 4, who will go through to tomorrow's final.
Yep, so those are the drivers who took the checkered flag, 4 of them going through. And let's see what's going to happen for semi-final C. So here is your starting grid. GP Piston starts this one on pole position. Oscar Ruiz, Rory Alexander in second place. Here he is, as he's otherwise known. Veloce in third place with David Castilla behind the wheel. Luis Razzia, former Formula 1 driver and tester, in fourth place for Globo Auto, the Brazilian driver. Andrew Evans for Genesis in P5. Diario Motor in sixth place with Ivan Fernandez behind the wheel. Then you've got Anastasia Lopez, Anna Ronaire in seventh place. Saban Flo behind the wheel in 8th position for France in 8th place. And then you've got Benche, which is not actually Adina. I was informed of this before we came on it, and we've got another driver behind the wheel of that one, Mario Haranz and Zhuan Zhang, the Chinese driver, completing the 11-driver strong field. Now, I mentioned before we got this one underway, Jimmy, in semi-final B, that they might be able to learn something from semi-final A. I don't think semi-final C is going to be able to learn much from semi-final B.
Well, I mean, the way I see it, you learn a lot from semi-final A. You then learn negative information from semi-final B. So now you just wait started in semi-final C. So literally just at a wash for that. So I don't know. I mean, who do you fancy in this one? I mean, of course, we know GP Piston very fast in qualifying. Oscar Ruiz done it was the 3rd fastest time of anyone there. Here he is, or Rory Alexander, of course, prolific Gran Turismo streamer. Recently hit 100,000 subscribers. So maybe riding that wave at the moment, but not quite quick enough for pole in his class.
Yeah, there's a few sort of wild cards in there. Luis Razzia, Andrew Evans, keep an eye out and see what those 2 drivers are going to be able to do from 4th and 5th place, respectively, on the grid. Be keen to see exactly what is going to go on in this one. Just see Igor Fraga there, sitting behind, I think that was Luis Razzia, actually, his fellow Brazilian driver. Yeah, it is indeed. So that's a bit of an interesting one, because Lewis, as I said, has tested in Formula 1. He's raced in various different categories in GP2, GP3, etc. over the last few years, and it's kind of the assistant learning from the master now in terms of Gran Turismo racing.
Yeah, it's always strange when the real-life drivers come into sim racing. They have to sort of then try and change their mindset somewhat. And wondering why our real-life drivers, our GT drivers, are not in the car with our AM drivers at the moment. They'll be doing that tomorrow as part of tomorrow's race, the Pro-Am race. But today, it's just the AMs and the pros are there. Just give a little bit of advice, try and help them out, try and get up to speed a little bit quicker.
Yeah, to decide the top 4 places that we'll be going through. There is Andrew Evans for Team Genesis, who sits behind the wheel of the car, as we wait for the last of the drivers to get themselves ready for this final race. I'll tell you, that is a flower power James May shirt that we just saw on screen, if ever I've seen one.
Oh, I missed it. I feel bad now. Oh, I'm actually into that one.
That is a bit of you, actually.
That is a bit.
That's straight out of the Jimmy Broadbent collection, I think.
Yeah,
when you do a collaboration with Dior, that's what you're going to do, isn't it? Something like that.
That's how Dior goes bankrupt, I think, if that happens. But no, it should be a fun race, this. And as we said before, same circumstances before. It's Group 3 cars at Catalunya. And again, we were quite scared it would be a circuit that might not promote the racing we wanted to see, but that's not been the case at all so far. I don't think I've ever seen 4 wides at Catalunya before.
And there's a good reason for that, because as we saw, it doesn't work. Well, let's see what is going to happen then for this one. Drivers, as we said, just getting those final preparations underway. And we've got 8 drivers who have already qualified for the grand final, which will take place with the pro drivers here tomorrow. Then we will have the last of those 4 drivers selected from semi-final C, and we'll find that out in about 5 laps or so's time here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Spanish commentators on stage were going absolutely potty during that last race as Andrew Evans takes his seat behind the wheel of his Genesis machine. And we just wait for these last few moments before we get this one ready to go. So if you're starting a little bit further back down the order, Jimmy, perhaps you haven't had the best qualification, what do you think the plan of attack will be going into this race?
It kind of seems the easiest strategy is just try and stay out of trouble. I mean, we've seen that trouble tends to find everyone in these races, unfortunately. But I think try and stay out of trouble. Try and stay clear of picking up any penalties, because they really do push you back into the pack. And you just try and focus on your own race. It's really easy, maybe, if you're not quite as experienced racing here, to maybe drive in your mirrors, try and avoid the people around you, maybe miss a braking point. We saw that a lot in the last race. A lot of braking points missed, maybe on purpose. I'd wager a little bit. But yeah, just try and really focus on your own race. And if you can do that and then maybe try and find a better lap time, there's a chance you can make it through in one piece. So, again, top 4 will go through to our final tomorrow, making up 12 teams in the final. So it's going to be very competitive for those top 4 slots.
Yeah, let's have another look at that start list just to remind you before we get this final race to green flag action. So GP Piston starting on pole position. Here he is in second place. Veloce Globo Auto on the second row. Genesis and Diario Motor in 5th and 6th place. Anna on air, Salmon Flow. Then Arbeche in 9th position. Then Car Unplugged and Team Zhang in 10th and 11th place there, respectively. So 11 drivers ready to take to the grid here for this one. Be exciting to see what is going to happen. I have to say, I reckon Rory Alexander has got a good shout at this one. The qualifying time was a little bit off of that of Oscar Ruiz. Ruiz was a 1:39.9. Alexander was a 1:40.4. So a bit of a difference between the two, but I reckon under racing conditions, as we saw, it could be a very different set of circumstances.
I mean, you don't say. He won't live it down, will he? If he doesn't have a good race here today. I'd say it's fairly sure thing to get through from this semi-final if he can just keep himself in one piece. So there is Fabian there, one of our French commentators, giving advice. I would not want to be the driver for that if Fabian was the one giving advice.
Yeah, it's Samuel Longines for Salmon Flow, who lines up in 8th position, that he is going to be advising on this race. So then, we look to the grid for semi-final C of the Pro-Ams here at the Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. 11 drivers lining up, and here is the order in which they sit on the grid. GP Piston in pole position on home soil with Rory Alexander. Here he is in second place on the front row. Next up, it is Team Veloce with David Castilla, and then Luis Razzia, Globo Auto, the Brazilian driver, in P4. P5 is Genesis with Andrew Evans at the wheel. Ivan Fernandez, Diario Motor, in 6th place in the Subaru BRZ. Anna on air lines up for France in 7th place with Salmon Flow in the Subaru in 8th position. Then Arbeche FIFA in 9th place with Car Unplugged in P10. And the 11 driver strong grid is completed by Yuan Zhang, the Chinese driver, lining up at the very back of the field. So GP Piston leads the field down towards the first corner. We saw it didn't take long in that last semi-final for things to kick off. I'm expecting probably more of the same here.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we saw a lot of the big fighting coming just after T3, after the field had bunched back together yet again. So I imagine we'll see something similar in this race. Of course, also depends how they are down at T1.
Ya. Es que estaba sintiendo lo distinto, ¿sabes?
A bit of team radio that we just heard there before we get this one ready to go. So, just to remind you, 11 drivers lining up on the grid here for this one, but only 4 will be able to progress forwards. Pending for the thoughts of Rory Alexander, we just saw him there looking quite pensive and nervous, second on the grid for the British driver. There he is, here he is. Let's see what is going to happen. 5 laps of action as we get ready to go racing for the final time here today. Semi-final C for the Pro-Ams here at the Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. We're green flag racing for the last time here in the semi-finals as GP Piston leads the field down towards the first corner. Here he is already darting into the slipstream and looking for an attack move down in towards T1, but a little bit too late for a move into there. Veloce coming under pressure from Luis Razzia, who sends it on the brakes for P3. Did he manage to make that one stick? I think he did, yes. So Luis Razzia up into 3rd position, but as we saw last time, it's down to T4 where it can all kick off as Andrew Evans in the Genesis has a wobble in P5. That can leave him under a massive amount of pressure here.
There's Anna on air, though, carving through the field behind, up into P5, past Genesis and Andrew Evans. Will she be able to hold that line there? She does. Andrew Evans and Genesis knocked out wide there. Anna on there as well, just misjudging that slightly. And off she goes. Vadina up into P5 now, and Andrew Evans down there. And here comes Diarra Motor behind, just about making it through on the inside somehow. And very, very aggressive for the first couple of corners, as we predicted, Tom.
Exactly. Diarra Motor getting his elbows out there. Genesis and Andrew Evans trying to go for the outside line into the chicane. He's going to get shuffled out to dry and left, hung out here because Sam and Flo now right all over his rear wing and trying to attack back at the front. Rory Alexander now under pressure from Lewis Ratzia for Globo Auto on the run down in towards turn 10. Who's going to be last of the late breakers? Oh, beautiful switch back there from Lewis Ratzia, straight through on the inside into second.
That's what happened. A very brief tuition there from Igor Fraga, and off he goes. The speed is massive. Rory Alexander there in on your screen, down to third position. Veloce now in fourth. There's a penalty there for Adina, so they're going to drop down the order as well as Diarra Motor goes up to P5. Remind the top four are the ones that will go through to the final tomorrow, so that is where you want to be. Coming onto the front straight now, good run from here he is in the tow, and Globo Auto getting a penalty, 1 second penalty, presumably for some contact somewhere.
Yeah, I wonder if that might have actually been down to turn 10. I thought it was a beautiful switchback, but that 1 second penalty could have been as a result of contact for that overtaking move. Here he is still trying to attack them. Rory Alexander on a charge as he comes through in towards turn 3. Is he going to try and line a move up in towards 4? Well, he's certainly going to be looking for that opportunity, but will it be able to present itself? He looks for the inside line. Lewis Ratzia not going defensive. Here comes Alexander looking for that move, but backs out of it sensibly at the last minute. Got to keep his powder dry for now. He knows that Lewis is going to have that penalty in just a few corners time, and is it worth doing a Dan Dare move up the inside and potentially scuppering both of their races?
No. That's the answer to that. But as you say, Tom, we're coming onto the straight now. He'll take that 1 second penalty, and Rory will move up into P2. That does allow GP Piston at the front of the field with Oscar Ruiz just to pull away a little bit, though, just so he can drive away from the rest of the field, give him a little bit of a gap. The gap is 2 seconds now to this battle, so a nice little buffer. And there you can see now Global Auto serving that penalty. Rory Alexander will go around him. Easy overtake there as the brakes are applied automatically for a second, and it feels like an eternity when you're serving that. I can tell you that from experience.
Yeah, because you lose a fair bit of time, don't you? Let's have another look and see if we can piece together what happened down to the first corner. This is our Benche that we need to be looking at in 7th place. Just again doing a Jordan, forgetting where the brake pedal is, straight to the back of Andrew Evans into the first corner. Thankfully they came away from that relatively unscathed, but for the penalty for our Benche, who now sits in 9th position.
Got to admire the bravery though, haven't you? Just really launched it in there, didn't come out in one piece, but at least you gave it a go. Here's about P5 right now, led by Diarra Motor with Genesis and Anna on air behind. Anna on air had a great start and then just sort of fell off. I'm not sure if she was helped off.
Yeah, she got involved in a bit of strife down at T4, and that kind of scuppered the chances as we see Andrew Evans in the Genesis going on Diarra Motor then. So Ivan Fernandez moves down a position, but almost into the back there of Andrew at T1. Just about manages to keep his nose clean as they come through there, but keep an eye out behind as well. Anna on air, Sam and Flo, all within relative touching distance to one another.
Yeah, great battle for P5. Unfortunately for them, doesn't really matter. I was kind of bragging rights to say, yeah, I beat you in the Pro-Am race, but won't count. They want to be in the top 4 to go through. It's 3 wide though, going into T4. Anna on air again, shoved out wide again. It seems every corner she goes, time she goes through there, she gets put into the grab on Diarra Motor there, and Sam and Flo spinning through 720 degrees there. Masterfully avoided there by Andrew Evans for Genesis. And Anna on air, despite being shoved off the corner before, up to P6. Genesis up to P5.
Well, how on earth they all managed to avoid the spinning cars, I have no idea. But they were washing machining it through in towards turn 5.
Is that an official term?
It certainly is, yeah, trademarked. Genesis then, Andrew Evans, with a big slide through turn 9 of Kamsa. Just about manages to keep it on the straight and narrow. Half-second penalty for him. No such problems to worry about, though, because his nearest competitor is Arbenche FIFA, sits in 6th place and is a fair old distance behind. And now coming under pressure from Anna on air, who dives to the inside. A great late lunge through into that corner and up into 6th position.
Great move there, and coming back through the field and also closing on Andrew Evans and Genesis very quickly. That is, of course, a little bit down to the penalty that they served just before, but we'll keep an eye on that battle. The leader right now still GP Piston from here he is. Global Auto we're watching right now. Looks like it's going to be a change for position as we're talking about it. Global Auto up the inside with Luis Razzia. Gets the move done down towards T1. Very nice, and I think it's fair to say that he's a little bit quicker than Rory at the moment.
Yep, having a look at the lap times, I would agree with that. Global Auto lost around a 1:40.6. Here he is, Rory Alexander, a 1:40.9. But Rory not giving things up as he tries to go for a move, and we cut away to a replay. This is what happened on the last lap, I think, and all of those spinning cars in front. Yeah, look at the chaos unfolding. Oh, threading the eye of a needle, going left, going right. How close do you want it? Brilliant driving.
If that's not used for a highlight somewhere, then you know, they're really missing out. But Global Auto now not able to put away from areas behind, so it's still close for P2 and P3. Voltaire behind, interestingly picked up a penalty, I'm going to assume for some track limits because they're on their own at the moment. But just for this midsection, it seems that Global Auto and Luis Razzia just a bit quicker than Rory Alexander behind, who we're riding on board with at the second. We're in the tow though, coming down towards the hairpin. Not quite close enough for a move though.
Voltaire picked up a penalty here as well. It's only a half-second one, but nothing really too much to worry about. They've got some 6.5 seconds over Andrew Evans and Genesis in 5th place. Coming through the final couple of corners, we are ready to begin this final lap. We haven't really spoken about Oscar Ruiz, GP Piston, who leads this race and has done quite commandingly. If he's able to take the checkered flag in just over a lap's time, that will mean that every driver that started their semi-finals on pole position has managed to take the victory respectively. So that's quite the feat, and certainly not what I was expecting.
We need a stat man, don't we? That's a good stat. Let's keep that in place for them. But it's not over just yet for P2 and P3 anyway, as we come on to the final lap. GP Piston seemingly in the position to win it, but we've seen, of course, things go right. Even on the last lap, the 5-second gap very easily eroded if you do make a mistake somewhere. Global Auto there. Meanwhile, the battle for 6th and 7th has been raging on between Anna On Air and Albert behind, and up the inside goes Anna On Air, and it seems that Andrew Evans is a little bit of a cork in the bottle here. These two are squabbling behind, and somehow Andrew's just not been bothered by it. He's just been driving his own race, as we mentioned earlier on. Another penalty there for Edina, so it's getting they're being quite aggressive this race.
Yep. Oh no! I was just about to say there's going to be something going off here in a lunge. That was always going to be a day late and a dollar short down in towards turn 5, and so it turned out to be for Arbenche FIFA. Just a penalty to compound their woes as well. Meanwhile, back at the front here, JB, looks like Luis Razzia has got the better and got the measure over, here he is, Rory Alexander in 3rd.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think he'll be too disappointed with that. Of course, P3 still going through to that final tomorrow, but that little sting to the pride there. Team Radio?
¿Dónde dirías que pierdo el tiempo yo? ¿En la tracción o en la frenada? O sea, acelero tarde, dices. Vale.
So through into the final couple of corners comes GP Piston. What a drive it has been from Oscar Ruiz. One more turn left, and the checkered flag awaits the Spaniard on home soil here in Barcelona. He takes the win in semi-final C in commanding fashion from Globo Auto. Luis Razzia comes home in second place, with here he is, Rory Alexander, qualifying for the grand final in 3rd position, and it is going to be David Castilla and Veloce who take the final position in the grand final tomorrow. Genesis and Andrew Evans, best of the rest in P5. What a fantastic race that was. What a great piece of driving in particular from Oscar Ruiz to take the checkered flag in commanding style. A great drive from the Spaniards.
I mean, again, that midfield battle, midfield squabble, I think, is what sort of kept that race very much interesting for Anna On Air and Edina as well. I think Andrew Evans somehow avoided all of it by just being slightly ahead in 5th. But of course, being in 5th, not good enough. It will be GP Piston, Globo Auto, Aries and Veloce going through to the final tomorrow. Everybody else will just have to sit and watch.
Well, sitting and watching they will, and you can see there as well the Genesis Vision Gran Turismo car, which will be being unveiled here later on tonight. Let's have a look at some highlights, though, from that race. Here is when it all kicked off on the opening lap. Genesis there getting into some strife. Anna On Air giving a biff to Andrew Evans. And further up the order, we saw Rory Alexander versus Luis Razzia. This was really the story of the race as far as the podium is concerned. And Alexander looking for a move, and Razzia then coming back to retaliate as they went on the brakes in towards the hairpin.
You see here on lap 3, Andrew Evans again getting by Moto, who was doing very, very well until an unfortunate incident, which I'm sure we're going to see very, very shortly. In fact, here it is now coming through up towards, I think this is T5. Moto then spins, tags as well Sam and Flo, who goes for about 720 degrees. Somehow everybody avoids it. Here's the onboard from Medina. It's hard to watch, isn't it?
I love that sense of speed, though. Look at this lunge, though, from our Benche FIFA on the final lap. It was never going to work, but fair play for giving it a go. I suppose you've got to, really, don't you? But the story of the race was GP Piston, the Spaniard taking the checkered flag in commanding style, led from lights out to the end of that race. Globo Auto, Lewis Ratzier coming home in second. Here he is, Rory Alexander in third place. Let's go down to the stage and catch up with our winner, Oscar Ruiz, GP Piston, who took the victory in semi-final C.
Unbelievable pace. Oscar Ruiz is the man in the first position in this qualifying. El hombre más rápido de esta clasificación. Primer lugar para Oscar Ruiz. Aplauso para él. What a lap. Not only the first one, where you had all the cars behind, also the other one, because you had the pace absolutely unbelievable. Grandísima primera vuelta para quitarse a los hombres de detrás, pero el resto de vueltas también, ritmo.
Sí, no, al principio estaba un poquito más frío, quería tener un poquito el ritmo de Abel, que he visto que tenía muy buena vuelta y poco a poco me he ido calentando más, he llegado al 39 que era el objetivo y ya estoy preparado para la siguiente carrera.
Racing against yourself, peleando contra sí mismo, vuelta de clasificación tras vuelta de clasificación. ¿Te has sentido cómodo? Did you feel comfortable?
Sí, no, me he sentido cómodo, la verdad es que estar ahí es una pasada, la verdad, me trae muchísimos recuerdos y lo he pasado muy bien.
Va a haber un nivel espectacular en la final. The level of the final is gonna be unbelievable. What do you expect? ¿Qué esperas?
Espero luchar sobre todo en las primeras posiciones, en las primeras vueltas y nada, yo creo que la carrera se decidirá al principio, pero va a haber lucha hasta el final.
Oscar Ruiz va a estar en la final, aplauso para él. Oscar Ruiz from GP Piston is gonna be in the final. Aplauso para él, enhorabuena. He's gonna be one of the favoritos.
Well, good to hear that Oscar Ruiz is full of beans after that one. Let's have a look at the results from semi-final C then. GP Piston, Globo Auto, here he is, and Veloce are the 4 drivers that make the cut. Sadly, Genesis, Anna On Air, Arbenche, FIFA, Sam and Flo, Car Unplugged, Team Zhang, and Thierry Motor will not go any further here tonight. Let's have a look, though, at the start list as well for the Pro-Am final. 12 drivers have qualified: Fordzilla, MG18, GP Piston, Super GT, Team France, Globo Auto, here he is, Race Clutch, Veloce, Overtake, Mercedes AMG, and Albert Costa completing the order. That is a formidable driver lineup, JB. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think there, as said in the interview, it's going to be a high-level final. You know, of course, in the Pro-Am races, you never quite know what sort of racing you're going to get. But to be honest, you know, the top 4 from each of them there were actually pretty close together. So I think tomorrow, throw in some GT superstars, it's going to be an interesting one to watch.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us here for the semi-finals of the Pro-Am race here in Barcelona for the Gran Turismo World Finals. We'll be back, though, tomorrow with more action. The Pro-Am Grand Final will be on the way here tomorrow. We're looking forward to seeing which of our drivers we are going to be crowning as the 2023 Pro-Am champion for GT World Finals in Barcelona. See you then.
PlayStation.